was once a vibrant soul, full of dreams and ambitions. He had always been the creative type, pouring her heart into art and writing, her mind alive with possibilities. Friends often marveled at her passion for life and how she radiated joy. Through these friends that she first met Mark, who seemed like a breath of fresh air, charming and attentive. First, their relationship felt like a fairy tale. Ark showered Lila with affection, making her feel special in ways she had only dreamed about. They spent evenings laughing over shared interests, exploring hidden cafes and attending art shows together. Lila thought she had finally found someone who understood her. However, as the weeks turned into months, the enchanting spell began to fade. Ark's charm morphed into something darker, a need for control, masked by sweet words and false reassurances. He started to dictate what Lila could post on social media, critiquing every photo and caption until she felt as if she were walking on eggshells. "Maybe you shouldn't share that," he would say with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes when Lila excitedly showed him a new post idea. Slowly but surely, he began to shape her online presence into something he found acceptable, molding her identity to fit his narrative. As time passed, Lila noticed that Mark's influence extended beyond social media. He began isolating her from friends and family too. Invitations to gatherings dwindled as Mark encouraged her to stay in with him, instead of meeting up with old pals or even calling her parents. Phone calls became less frequent as doubt crept in. Her friends were starting to feel distant. Each time Lila mustered the courage to assert herself or push back against his controlling nature, it was met with gaslighting so subtle yet effective that it left her questioning reality itself. "Or overreacting," he'd say when she'd express discomfort over his comments about what she wore or whom she talked to online. With each passing day, self-doubt gnawed at Lila's spirit while dependence on Mark grew stronger, a vicious cycle that blurred the lines between love and manipulation. At deep inside, fragments of the vibrant woman remained. Whispers of rebellion flickered within her heart like candles struggling against the wind. And for freedom, but found herself trapped in an invisible cage crafted by someone who claimed to love her, the man whose attention now felt more like shackles than tender affection. Those quiet moments alone at night, when darkness enveloped everything else around her, Lila sought solace by expressing herself through art, a hidden defiance manifested onto canvases filled with colors representing emotions too loud for words. Beneath this facade lay a simmering desire for liberation from the emotional turmoil that consumed her life, an urge waiting patiently for its moment to ignite into action. Lila sat in her favorite corner of the cafe, the scent of fresh coffee mingling with the sound of chatter around her. He glanced down at her phone, heart racing as she recalled the events from last night. A simple gathering among friends, but Mark had turned it into a nightmare. He had waited until everyone was gathered, their laughter filling the air, before he decided to take center stage. With an effortless charm that masked his cruelty, he launched into a mocking recount of their relationship. You should have seen Lila try to paint. It was adorable, like watching a toddler throw spaghetti against the wall. The laughter that erupted felt like daggers piercing through her. Lila's cheeks burned with humiliation as she forced a smile, feeling smaller and smaller beneath his gaze. He continued belittling her accomplishments, while pretending to be supportive, his words dripping with insincerity. Each chuckle from their friends felt like an echo of her worth being diminished. Afterward, as they made their way home, Lila tried to confront him about how hurtful his jokes were. "Ark, you didn't have to put me down like that," she whispered softly, searching for understanding in his eyes. Instead of empathy, she faced a storm of blame. "Too sensitive," he snapped back sharply. "It's just a joke. You need to learn how to take one." His dismissive tone sent waves of despair crashing over her. It always did, whenever she tried to stand up for herself. The next day was no better. Confided in Sophie during lunch, her best friend's support meant everything right now. "What to do anymore?" Lila admitted, tears welling in her eyes as she recounted the previous night's events. Sophie's brow furrowed with concern. "This isn't okay, Lila. He shouldn't be treating you like this," she said firmly but gently. Lila knew Sophie cared deeply for her still. Doubts crept into her mind like shadows where confidence once dwelled. "Maybe I'm just overreacting," Lila replied weakly. "No," Sophie insisted passionately. "You deserve someone who lifts you up, not someone who pulls you down." As those words echoed in Lila's mind long after their conversation ended, another chilling realization struck. Ark wasn't just controlling, he was watching every move. She made online a suffocating cloud over her existence that left no room for freedom or individuality. 8 at night when everyone else was asleep. Ayla would scroll through social media, only to find Mark's lurking presence everywhere, comments under her posts filled with veiled disapproval or controlling corrections on what pictures were suitable for others' eyes. He felt trapped within this digital cage, every interaction meticulously monitored by him, as though each click could set off an explosion. A suffocation intensified each passing day, until something within Layla began stirring, a flicker of defiance igniting amidst the darkness closing in around her. That moment of clarity forged through despair, and betrayal surged courage previously buried deep beneath layers upon layers of manipulation and emotional abuse. Layla vowed silently under moonlit skies, this wouldn't end here, there must be a way out from this twisted nightmare, before it consumed all remnants of who she used to be, in a moment of determination. Fueled by the need for liberation, Lila sat on her bed, scrolling through endless feeds filled with curated perfection and smiling faces. A veil had been lifted, the weight of Mark's oppressive control was suffocating. She knew she had to act. With a deep breath, she reached out to Jake, her tech-savvy acquaintance who had always shown an interest in cybersecurity. He agreed to meet her at a local cafe, tucked away from prying eyes. They sat across from each other. Lila shared her story, her voice trembling as she recounted the manipulation and isolation imposed upon her by Mark. Jake listened intently, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Expose him," he said quietly but firmly. "You deserve to be heard." Together they formed a plan. It was time to unveil the truth hidden behind Mark's charming facade. The next few days were filled with a sense of purpose that Lila hadn't experienced in months. With Jake's expertise guiding her, they managed to hack into Mark's social media accounts, a task that felt both thrilling and terrifying. They sifted through his digital life. Dark secrets came to light, manipulative messages sent to other women under the guise of friendship, derogatory comments about Lila made when he thought she wasn't watching. Ayla's heart raced as she documented every instance of deceit and cruelty. The screenshots painted a vivid picture of emotional abuse that had become so normalized in her life that she once believed it was love. Each revelation reignited the fire within her. This wasn't just about herself anymore. It was about standing up against manipulation and warning others who might fall victim like she did. They compiled everything meticulously. Posts filled with sarcasm directed at Lila's passions. Private conversations where he belittled her achievements. Even instances where he openly mocked women, he pursued online while pretending loyalty toward Layla. The evidence was damning and shocking, not just for those who would read it, but also for Lila herself, as she realized how far down the rabbit hole of emotional turmoil she'd been led. They prepared to expose him online. Adrenaline surged through Lila's veins. They decided on Reddit, the perfect platform for truth-tellers seeking justice. Choosing a pseudonym allowed her some anonymity, while still conveying an urgent warning about Mark's predatory behavior. Sighed Jake late one night as their screens glowed brightly in the dimly lit room. Lila took one last look at everything they had compiled, her heart pounding fiercely against her chest like a drum echoing freedom's call. Shaky fingers hovering over the keyboard. He typed out her post carefully, a mix of narrative and evidence showcasing not only Mark's true nature, but also detailing how insidious manipulation could cloud someone's reality, until escape seemed impossible. After what felt like hours, but were merely moments frozen in time, came the final click. She pressed post, sending it all into cyberspace, where anonymity could shield yet empower voices longing for release from silence. And just like that, began crumbling down around both past pain and present fears. Lila felt liberated by taking control back from someone who sought only dominance over her spirit, instead of nurturing love now others would know to the journey toward. Healing lay ahead on roads, paved with hard truths waiting patiently beneath layers of deception, once hidden away in shadows cast by an unworthy partner's grasp. The aftermath of Layla's courageous decision to expose Mark unfolded like a powerful wave, crashing into the shores of their lives. She sat quietly in her room. The glow of her phone illuminated her anxious face. Notifications flooded in from every direction, supportive messages streaming in from the online community, mingling with disbelief and outrage toward Mark's behavior. "Layla, I can't believe he did that," one message read, while another echoed sentiments of solidarity. "You're so brave for sharing your story." Each notification felt like a balm for her wounded spirit, washing away remnants of doubt and fear. Layla couldn't help but smile through her tears. as she read post after post from people who had also suffered at the hands of manipulative partners. Their shared experiences spoke volumes. They understood her pain, her struggle. In the days that followed, stories poured in from others inspired by Lila's bravery. Victims began to find their voices, sharing their own tales of manipulation and abuse. He felt an overwhelming sense of empowerment knowing she was not alone, that together, they formed a community united against toxicity and control. Meanwhile, Mark faced his reckoning. Colleagues whom he had always charmed began to scrutinize him more closely now that Lila's revelations had spread like wildfire across social media platforms. Filled office corridors as people confronted him about the allegations made against him. What kind of person would do that? Someone questioned during a casual coffee break, looking straight at him with disgust etched on their face. Mark attempted to brush it off with arrogance, the facade he had carefully constructed beginning to crumble around him. Down inside, confusion clawed at his conscience. How could this have happened? The truth emerged slowly, but surely people no longer respected him as they once did. His charm turned sour, as disdain replaced admiration in the eyes of those who once adored his presence. Struggled under growing scrutiny, Lila found solace among friends old and new, especially Sophie, who remained steadfastly by her side throughout this process. They spent hours talking over coffee, or taking long walks under starlit skies where laughter punctured moments once filled with despair. Conversations. Lila unearthed fragments of herself she thought were lost forever beneath layers of control, creativity, blossomed anew alongside resilience forged through suffering. With every step she took toward healing, each brushstroke on canvas reflecting newfound freedom, Lila rediscovered passions buried deep within herself for far too long. He explored art projects without fear or shame, while writing poetry that flowed effortlessly onto pages bearing witness to both pain and triumph. While sitting outside surrounded by twinkling fairy lights strung above her patio, a symbol representing hope guiding each moment forward, Lila picked up her phone again, hesitantly scanning through messages left behind after. Revealing everything about Mark online. \n among them stood one particularly poignant comment. "Thank you for speaking out. I finally realized I'm not alone." Her heart swelled at that sentiment, knowing others were empowered gave meaning to what she'd done. \n, as weeks passed into months since unveiling truth upon an unsuspecting world, the weight lifted entirely. It became clear just how bright life could truly shine when free from constraints imposed by toxic relationships. \n Lila looked towards the horizon with renewed determination, forging ahead into uncharted territories. Seemed less daunting than before because this time she held firmly onto self-worth, rooted deeply within strength cultivated through adversity. \n in reclaiming control over every aspect from friendships rekindled back into existence, amidst laughter echoing through spaces once abandoned to embracing independence unfettered by past shackles, she thrived beautifully against all odds. \n, and so it was. Ayla stepped boldly into tomorrow's embrace, not merely surviving but flourishing beyond limits previously imposed upon herself, a testament reminding everyone watching just how powerful rising above manipulative darkness can truly be.